vendu ce chocolat, il n'y a pas d'activité au bureau. Enfin, j'ai vendu 17.
I think it's a hard point to not accept the importance of and understand the responsibility of being identified as the first, solo representative of the United States. So I certainly take that on board, but I also think in other areas of my life, my goal has always been to let's get past the first. To me, the first is not the most important story. The first is hopefully the beginning of many, many, many important stories to come. I think most people are familiar with the traumatic histories of Native American people, but I think and my experience is looking and working with material collections, oftentimes in museum collections, where I've always found beauty, and I've always found innovation, and I've always found craft. And you think, how did this coexist? How were these things made under such duress and under such dire circumstances? Why would somebody choose to make something beautiful? And I think actually during this process of developing this exhibition for the pavilion, I realized that you're making a space of freedom, you're making a space of hope in an object. I can't think of a single Indigenous historic object where you would use this many beads, right? So what we're able to do in the studio also somehow intersects with the history of couture handwork and the idea of being able to do samples. And I can control sort of how the beads sit. If we change it from 9 beads to 10 beads to 12 beads, if we place them an 1/8 inch closer or 1/8 inch further apart, the textures completely change. And so we use beads from all over the world. I use historic beads, I use vintage beads where we're using the last of the stock. I think I also have grown up looking at op art, pattern and decoration. I've looked at psychedelia. I've taken part in rave culture and queer culture and drag and the whole spectrum. And so for me, I would be not telling you the whole truth if I only choose to speak about indigeneity. But my body is an Indigenous body. It's all funneled through this body. And so my hope is that by telling my experience, that everyone else can project their own kind of intersected, layered experience into the world.
What's beautiful about Jeffrey's work is its ability to kind of function as a prism, to take the traumas of the past and questions about identity and politics and refract them in such a way that things that have been flattened, that realities that have been flattened or made one-dimensional or two-dimensional, can become these beautiful kaleidoscopes, which are, you know, joyous and celebratory and critical all at the same time.